Lewis Hamilton is getting ready for the new chapter in his career, driving for one of the most successful teams in the world, Ferrari. It looks like the 7-time world champion has already done some moves that indicate he doesn't tend to mess around and win from day one, such as visiting Maranello in a secret manner and learning Italian in order to gel better with the crew. However, the Brit has left the door open for a potential return to Mercedes in the future, even though many thought this was a done chapter in his life. So with all of this in mind, is Hamilton actually ready to dominate with Ferrari? And if so, what are going to be his biggest challenges to tackle down? It's safe to say that Hamilton and Ferrari are going to be the duo that we're going to pay the most attention to from 2025 onwards. And there's nothing that excites the Formula One world more than this collaboration. However, it doesn't look like everything's going to be as easy as it sounds on paper, despite the indigo-pasted move that Hamilton did back with Mercedes in 2013. Moving to a new team 1 year before the new regulations and then starting the domination process when the new era kicks in. Right now, even though many believe that the transition is not going to take place until the 31st of December, because that's the date when Hamilton's contract runs out with Mercedes, the 7-time world champion has already paid several visits to Maranello, 5 actually, in order to establish himself with Ferrari's internal structure. Despite the agreement that he won't do anything before 2025, you can easily understand the motives behind Hamilton's move, and whether you like it or not, this is something integral for his future in Ferrari. Hamilton understands the magnitude of his move and how much people will expect from day one, because he does not come here to retire, as Vasseur confirmed. He comes here to win. And with Leclerc already being destined to become the next champion for the Maranello team, it's easy to understand that Hamilton might be both loved and hated by the Ferrari fans regarding whether or not they're keener towards Leclerc more than they are towards the team, in case Hamilton starts dominating his first outing. According to Gazzetta dello Sport, Hamilton's visit had deep meaning behind it. He has already made friends with the technicians, and most importantly, he's established a working relationship with probably the most important person there, Riccardo Adami, the man who will be his racing engineer. This is the Bono of Ferrari, and Hamilton knows how important it is to get on with the same side from day one if they're to be a successful duo on the grid. But apart from making friends, Hamilton was also focused on looking at the technical parts of the car, which are also integral for his projected success with Ferrari. Even ahead of his first race in front of the home crowd in Monza, Hamilton admitted that the feelings are definitely going to be mixed, and he understands that the crowd there will be expecting nothing less than dominance. So, be that as it may, the 7-time world champion is slowly but surely getting prepared for a pressure-filled atmosphere with Ferrari and a direct show-off with his teammate, the first man he needs to beat in order to become the most successful driver of all time. Even though he won't need as much accommodation time as many believe, Hamilton had one thing in mind: make sure that he will understand the primary differences between Ferrari and Mercedes' cars, which are the steering wheels and their controls, for example. Several reports say that Hamilton has already asked the team to move the cockpit position slightly, and these details and feedback go to show that while many believe he's not that technically knowledgeable like his colleagues, Hamilton knows exactly what he wants from a car. The first test that he will have in Ferrari machinery will be in 2025 in Fiorano in January, and he will drive the F175, or the 2022 car with which the Maranello team had a lot of dreams with. But unfortunately, destiny happened, and upgrades turned into effective downgrades. This, however, doesn't seem to be that important for Hamilton's integration process with Ferrari, because even though he states that tests like this are important, including the dent that's been left by not attending the tyre test in Abu Dhabi, they have to be done in order to make sure that both of the sides are working towards the same goal. Another very interesting fact is that Hamilton has started to learn Italian, which goes to show that it's never too late to add something new to your life and your resume. And you'd understand why this happens, because both Leclerc and Sainz have spoken Italian frequently to the team and the media, despite both of them being Monegasque and Spanish, respectively. Of course, their similarity to the Italian language might have helped a lot, but that doesn't mean Hamilton shouldn't learn Italian. Quite the contrary, he will feel a lot of pressure to integrate himself not just in Ferrari, but also in the Italian media. If you've been following the sport for quite some time, and if you look at the Italian media that are reporting about Ferrari, they can be pretty harsh sometimes, and if you do not have the right words to express yourself, you can easily find yourself as the laughingstock of the team and probably pinned as the primary reason for many issues in the team. The report from La Gazzetta dello Sport wrote, "Lewis has been taking Italian lessons for several weeks. For Charles, as for Sainz, speaking our language has been essential to integrating into the team and nurturing the relationship with the fans and the media. Hamilton seems to want to do everything he can to not be perceived as an external element, alien to the culture, the internal feeling, and everything that surrounds the prancing horse. What is also very interesting is that Hamilton is joining a team that already has a lead driver in Leclerc, and even though the chances of them becoming the greatest lineup in the history of the sport are quite existent, there is no doubt that tons of pressure will be applied to Hamilton in order to execute everything perfectly. Apart from Hamilton's success, Leclerc has 8 race wins and 43 podiums in a car that was fast on Saturdays for the majority of the time, which does go to show that once Ferrari fixes its woes and starts performing on Sundays, there will be a lot of tension between these two, despite Vasseur believing that the drivers will respect each other on the track. As for Hamilton, he didn't completely shut down the door for a potential Mercedes return, and after he said that he will be racing longer than Alonso, who's currently 43 years old and 4 years older than Hamilton, you can truly see a door in the future which Hamilton might knock again. Yes, it's a far-fetched scenario, but it's quite possible one. When talking about it, the 7-time world champion said, "I do hope, as I said, in many years to come, I'll be able to come back and see you all. Big, big thank you, everybody." But then again, there are always critics who are going to put some dirt on Hamilton's name. And so far, the biggest one is the brother of the 7-time world champion, Michael Schumacher. Ralph is not a big fan of Hamilton's agreement with Ferrari and feels like there's one certain aspect that the Brit is lacking and can't improve, which will turn back to haunt Ferrari for their decision to bring in such a good and experienced driver. And that is developing a car perfectly for his driving style. More often than not, Hamilton has relied on his team when it comes to strategies and choices, which cannot be said for drivers like Sainz and Russell, who have always called their own strategies and often went against the will of their engineers, similar to Verstappen. This doesn't take away anything from the greatness that Hamilton has achieved, but it's something that puts a dark spot on his career as a Formula One driver, and Ralph believes it's precisely this factor that will make Hamilton's Ferrari stint a failed one. Elaborating further on this extent, the former Formula One driver said, "The biggest difference is that Michael, among many other qualities, was able to work with engineers to develop a car perfectly for his driving style. Lewis cannot do that. Michael always set the direction for his confidants, like Ross Brawn or Jean Todt. I don't think Vasseur will be able to help Hamilton, just like Toto wasn't able to help him this year." Wolff emphasized more than once that a driver should step on the gas and the engineers should develop, and this approach was necessary for Mercedes because the drivers were apparently unable to give the right input. Right now, Leclerc is the top dog in Ferrari. Everyone in the team knows him. Michael came to Ferrari as the current world champion and was much younger. That's not the case with Lewis. This will have a lot of weight on Lewis's shoulders, and there are tons of other, far more important people that Ralph who might be part of Ferrari and who do believe in the same narrative. And even when you were to look at Binotto's words, they do reflect the same energy as one from Ralph. Be that as it may, the situation is now very difficult to comprehend, because until we see Hamilton in his first race with Ferrari, we cannot draw conclusions as to what will happen. But one thing is for certain, the man is here to win, and the visits to Maranello, despite the 2024 contract with Mercedes, have proven that he's ready to integrate and start a new chapter in his life as soon as possible. With all of this in mind, do you think that Hamilton and Ferrari will become quite a successful duo? And more importantly, do you think that he'll be able to outperform Leclerc in the same machinery? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're interested in Ricciardo's shocking return in Formula One, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.